Hey everybody, it's me, Michael B, and I forgot to do something that I'm going to do really quickly here. I'm usually much more on top of this, so I am very sorry, guys. What's Christmas without Mike making a massive mistake? It's home of the mistakes and the clickiest keyboard this side of the border. Thank you so much for joining me tonight, the Boxing Day special. I don't know in the US if you guys have Boxing Day. If you do, I apologize. Here in Canada, it's Boxing Day. Now, I kind of promised my wife I wasn't going to do any more videos during Christmas. I stopped on like the 23rd, 24th, and 25th and didn't do anything else. But tonight, I had to come back because tonight we're going to be taking a look on the last show of the year for Chillin' Chat at the year in review in the home arcade space. So we're going to be looking at our favorite announcements and least favorite announcements, basically going over the good, the bad, and the ugly of 2022 from iArcade, AtGames, and Arcade1Up. And boy, has it been an interesting year to say the least. Anyways, guys, thank you so much for being here. It means the world to me. This is Chillin' Chat with Michael B. So that's right, guys. Mistakes and all, we're ready to go. I want to say hello to a couple people here in the chat for joining me tonight. Chris Langlois, always here. Chris, good guy, Canadian, like myself. Matt Asher Gaming, Amanda Turner, Andy's Game Room, Jason M. I saw Dan Z there earlier. Rody 8105, Nick Gamble, Wayne Rice, the bad guy Mike Worley, Bobby Timpson, Jeff Widdison, the real Ism, El Captain, Papa Brad's Gaming, Bobby Timpson, Biggie D's Arcade. By the way, Papa Brad, guys, he did a video done with Arcade1Up today. Really into Mustangs now. We've also got Big Retro Gaming Show. Happy holidays. The mistakes make it better than real. 100%. SH&G. Happy holidays. Your Average Gamer. Boxing Day, baby. Mike Tyson. 19K Fox, what's up, Mike? Nooner, Let Her Rip, Later Chip, El Captain, next year is the year of the re-releases, maybe. Yo! Jason Mucha, David G, Bob Oif, Kongs Are Us, Joe Huzowski, JD Brumwick, Bridget Gross. Let's get going here, guys. So we're going to be taking a look at the year in review for all these home arcade companies, and it has been super interesting. Some good, some bad. Some companies didn't do a lot. Some companies did a lot without a lot of impact. And then some companies did a bunch of stuff and made a lot of mistakes. Did a lot of good stuff, but somehow made a lot of mistakes. We got a $9.99 super chat here from Console Fanboy. Zohar, thank you so much for doing that, brother. You're amazing, good sport. Wish you all success, health, and happiness in 2023. I was only joking today. I know, Zohar, I got wide shoulders, and it's not just because I eat a lot of food. So thank you very much, brother. Anyways, so I thought the best way to do this tonight was to kind of go through my videos over the course of the last year or so. And before I get started, I didn't even say this. Happy holidays, everybody. If you celebrated, hope you had a wonderful Christmas. Happy Hanukkah. And if you didn't celebrate Christmas, hope you just had a good holiday with your family. So, your average gamer, I want more Unico. Unico kind of didn't do anything last year. At all. Anyways, so I want to get in and start it off where really the year started off with CES 2020, and that was where the news first started to come out. So let me bring up one of my old videos here now, guys. See if I can get this up on screen and actually get it working. Of course, I've got ads, so it's going to take a second because I'm, for some reason, didn't do this. So, let's go to the CES 2022 announcements. I should be better at this. So here we go, CES 2020. I did a video on this, and Arcade1Up came out of the gate with their early announcements. And guys, they didn't really announce a whole lot at CES 2020. We got a couple new legacy cabs. We got a Centipede legacy cab. We got a Pac-Mania legacy cab. and the Mortal Kombat 30th anniversary. I think Mortal Kombat was the one we were the most excited about. Now, all these cabs were awesome. Like, I was a little upset that Centipede looked to have a horizontal screen, and Mortal Kombat looked great. Of course, no Johnny Cage. That's all you could do. Pac-Mania, I questioned the art, but it was cool to see a different Pac-Man cab. No mistakes noted yet. But the first mistake of the year comes right here when they announced the Killer Instinct Pro cabinet. And the only reason that I'm saying this is a mistake, I do question whether or not Killer Instinct should have been the first Pro cab they actually came out with. But the reason why this was a mistake was the timing, because at that time, when they announced the Pro cab, the Killer Instinct 3/4 still hadn't even reached homeowner shelves. So you had a bunch of people that were super excited. We just got a brand new 3/4 inch Killer Instinct cab. People with pre-orders in, waiting to get it. And then Arcade1Up out of nowhere announced a Pro edition is coming. And a bunch of people are just like, well, screw this. I'm just going to cancel my 3/4 order. So it was a very odd announcement for CES. I mean, all these games were games that we had seen before from Arcade1Up. So I think a lot of us were a little bit disappointed because it came up right away as it seemed like it was going to be the year of the re-release. Of course, there was some exciting stuff. Online Mortal Kombat, we were all really looking forward to that, getting on there and ripping people's heads off. But, you know, it was a sour start to the year with the Killer Instinct Pro, you know, being announced before Killer Instinct even came out. Yeah, so that was the start. And, you know, of course, Arcade1Up wasn't the only company that was at or around CES 2022, because we also had iArcade were there as well, and iArcade announced their gold cabinet. So this was really interesting. Let's see, remove all ads. Yeah, that wouldn't be a bad idea. See if I can find the video. Here it is here. So this is the cabinet. I, of course, have this cabinet in my home right now. There you can see me with my beanie, famously with people making fun of me because they thought I was trying to look like RGT85. So anyways, we got the announcement of the iArcade Gold Edition. And that was met with some interesting comments because a lot of people were saying, why is there an iArcade Gold Edition? I mean, iArcade was still relatively new. The machine was still relatively new. So a lot of people felt that it was kind of a weird decision to come out with a new model so early into the life cycle, as most people were just getting comfortable and resting with their original iArcade. Of course, a lot of people saw this coming as there was a big clearance sale on iArcade towards the end of last year. But the new model came out. Most people were like, I don't really care, you know, there's some upgrades, but I'm happy with my iArcade. There was no problem. It's not like if you didn't get the gold cabinet, you weren't going to be able to do anything on the gold cabinet that you couldn't do on the standard, right? Well, that's what we thought back then, and we'll have more on it this year. But the idea from iArcade was they took a lot of fan feedback from people and said, you know what, you guys are missing a light-up marquee. We want something with a more traditional arcade shape, and that's what they tried to offer with the gold cabinet. It wasn't so much to appease current owners, it was to possibly bring in new owners to the sphere so everybody could enjoy iArcade. So we got our first look at the gold cabinet, and see if I can find the video here. No, I don't even have the video, it looks like. My oh my, I didn't even have the fun video they sent out with the girls playing the iArcade. Yeah, there we go. So, and JT Brumwick, the beard ate the chest here. That's possible. Gangsta Mike, your average gamer says. Stop the FOMO. There is no FOMO right now, Pitbull, brother. He's giving me a hard time. Pitbull, I'll have an interesting video for you before the end of the year. I mean, everybody else is making Done with Arcade1Up videos. I gotta make it too, I guess, at some point. Not really. But we'll talk about that. So anyways, this was the iArcade. Gold Edition came out, and some people were excited about it. I, for one, was like, you know, I really hope to get my hands on this. And, of course, if you guys can see behind me, now I'll switch over to full screen. I did get an iArcade Gold Edition. I did pay for it out of my own money. So that was the start of the year, guys. We got re-releases from Arcade1Up at CES. But there were some cool new cab designs. Some of the re-releases we're going to have online for the first time. And then, of course, the Killer Instinct Pro, a new model from Arcade1Up, something to get excited about. But at the same time, it did defeat the purpose of the 3/4 scale Killer Instinct cab, possibly. And then, of course, the iArcade Gold Edition, like we talked about, the idea was This was a new cabinet for people that had held off from buying the iArcade that said, I want something with a more traditional arcade shape, something with a light-up marquee. That was the idea behind it. So guys, moving on to the rest of the year. And we finally got some news from AtGames a little later on this year, but it was the news that we kind of, I guess you didn't really want, you didn't want to expect. I just got to wait for the ads to be done, and then I'll show you the video I'm talking about. My God, Tom Cruise, you are a handsome man. How do you not age? Top Gun. Hell of a movie, too, if you haven't seen it yet, by the way. So, guys, the next bit of news for the AtGames fans, this was a little bit disappointing, unfortunately, but we found out a little later in the year that AtGames was actually going to be doing a lot less than they originally anticipated. And one of the big things that we have been waiting for was an AtGames branded gun to play our gun games without all those attachments. Like, you know how we had the attachment with the, what was it called? I have one back there. I can't remember what it's called, but the light gun with the light bar. AtGames was going to come out with a first model device called the Bit Blaster, but we found out AtGames were actually going to be canceling production of the Bit Blaster. The Bit Blaster wasn't coming out. Really quickly, Retro Gamer Chris, Mike, do you think they'll be issuing out new gold skins soon? This is why I'm holding off upgrading. I don't know if they're going to be releasing new gold skins soon. I think the idea right now is before any more golds are produced, they want to clear out their current inventory. They're going to sell that off before they would consider even making any more. So that's all I can say. I don't know if there's going to be new skins produced. Your Average Gamer says Tom Cruise drinks virgin's blood. My wife was telling me about this the other day. Tom Cruise is in like the highest levels of Scientology, and basically at his level, he's immortal apparently. And it's the first time I've ever looked at something from Scientology and said, you know, that makes sense. Aim track light gun. That's right. Oh, yeah. So the Bit Blaster was canceled, guys. Unfortunately, that was the first real bit of news we had from AtGames was a cancellation. A lot of us were hoping for new products from AtGames, new things coming out. And really, AtGames left us wondering, is anything going to happen this year, especially with the early cancellations? So, guys, I think you can see where this is going right now with some of these announcements. But here's where things start to get interesting. And here's one where I made myself look like a bit of an ass, but I think you guys probably know what I'm talking about here. So we all remember after a slow start, we got, Pro Cab announcement, exciting, but of course it's Killer Instinct, which affected the sales of the Killer Instinct cabs. The next real announcement coming from Arcade1Up, supposedly, was we found out that Arcade1Up was going to be at Shaq's Funhouse during the Super Bowl event. And a lot of people started speculating on what was going to happen at Shaq's Funhouse. Me, for some reason, knowing that NFL Blitz was on the horizon and that NFL Blitz was going to happen, I, of course, assumed that if you're going to hold an event during the Super Bowl and you have NFL Blitz coming out, obviously they were announcing the NFL Blitz cabinet. But unfortunately, I was super, super, super wrong. They didn't announce NFL Blitz. They announced the NBA Jam XL cabinet. We had the luxury and pleasure of having the best worst correspondent in the home arcade space, arcade inside reporter, B-Kong, at the event, and he told us, don't expect it to be something new. It's a re-release. And then he showed us, and it was in fact NBA Jam XL. We got our first official look at an XL cabinet. Now, of course, at this time, we also knew that we were already getting a Golden Tee XL cab, but there was some confusion because Golden Tee, we'll get back to Golden Tee, but Golden Tee 3D or Golden Tee XL was kind of announced over on a European site where you could buy the cabinet, so we knew it was coming out, but there was also some shipping information that a bunch of Golden Tee legacy cabs were coming in. And at the time, like a bunch of us on YouTube were all speculating, you know, is it going to be a legacy cab? Is it going to be an XL cab? Is it two different cabs? It turned out the XL Golden Tee 3D ended up being the legacy cab, so there we go. Michael B is our drug pusher. I like. I don't really understand that comment. Maybe I am, because I'm obviously addicted. Like the video said long ago, and I still am. But I also point out the negatives too. Anyways, we got our first look at NBA Jam, and one of the things that we asked B about at the event, and I don't know if I have coverage right now, was the screen going to be washed out. There was some early concerns about the XL cabs, new form factor again, we were super excited about, but unfortunately it looked like the monitors were going to be crappy. So we knew with Golden Tee 3D, the monitor was not so good on an angle. People were complaining. We didn't have them here in Canada, but a lot of other YouTubers had them, and you know, all the monitors were seemingly shitty on them. We were worried about the NBA Jam XL as well. B kind of said in person, it's not great, but it's playable. So that's where hashtag it's playable came from. Anyways, I was wrong. No Blitz. It was, in fact, Shaq announcing NBA Jam XL, the Shaq Edition, which makes total sense because he was only in one of the games. And, of course, then they released the art that didn't have Shaq on it. It's not that bad, but I wish it was the original art. Strange choice from one of your first XL cabs going completely off the grid with the art. Yeah. Golden Tee XL and Star Wars, all I want for Christmas. Hopefully you got them. I have Golden Tee 3D. The screen is dog shit. You cannot sit on a stool and play it unless you're super tall with a tall upper body. I have to be standing to enjoy it. They really botched that one up, unfortunately, but at the same time, I still really dig it. I love the form factor. I love the idea of the XLs. It's just the screens kind of killed them. But we did eventually get some product releases from AtGames, and the first one was kind of strange, but actually, I really dug it. I got one sent out to me for review from AtGames. I didn't know what I was going to do with it. I was never a BitPixel fan or any of these extra add-ons, but of course we had the BitPixel HV coming out. Now, this device, it was so weird to me at the time, but I thought I would like this more than, the BitPixel on the AtGames Legends Ultimate, because I like the idea of having some kind of virtual topper I could put on my pinball machine. What I didn't realize at the time is I would use it for so much more. So if you go further, this is actually from my review. I think you get up to this point, and you can see right now where I'm using it, and I'll take this ad off. Giving a lot away, a lot of free press here and ads. But you will see I'm using Pinball FX right there, and I can actually plug it into my PC and use it as a third screen DMD for Pinball FX and Visual Pinball. And this is why I fell in love with this device. It hasn't been plugged back into my Legends Pinball since. It is now plugged specifically into my PC so I can use it as a third screen DMD. So I honestly was very impressed with this product. When these were on sale, there was a lot of AtGames sales this past year. Hopefully you guys picked them up, because if you're not big on modding or getting like the deluxe back box from AtGames, this is actually a really cool way to add a third screen to your device. So that was the first product that we had knew about really from AtGames that finally came out. We finally started to see some movement. But moving on from there, we'll go back to the XL cabs, and I'll tell you about one of my most exciting moments of the year. So this was me right here, and I will tell you, I've been covering Arcade1Up footage for a very long time, and of course the two main people that Arcade1Up always used for their media program, because they don't have an official media program. It's not like AtGames and iArcade. Like AtGames has a Skype thread where they send information out to media and, basically try to push their information out. And then iArcade has a PR firm that has, contact information for YouTubers, and they'll send out like an email blast of information that they're hoping you're going to cover. Arcade1Up doesn't really have any of that. They don't have anything. The only two people they ever really reached out to before were Retro Ralph and Cool Toy. And then over the summer, I got an email from a random person at Tastemakers, and I was on the same email as Retro Ralph and Cool Toy, and it was sent me a package and asking me if I'd be interested in covering the pre-order for the Arcade1Up Golden Tee XL pre-order launch. And I was just so excited. I was like, oh my God, I made it. Like, I've done enough coverage and done enough good videos that they finally have me in that place. They think of me the same way that they think of Cool Toy and Retro Ralph. Well, my one-time opportunity with Arcade1Up, maybe I didn't do a very good job, because I did do this video and they never reached out to me again. So there it is. I don't know if it's a facet of they just realized that I'm not as good as the other two, which is totally true, or if it just got lost in the works. But they sent out this information, and I got to send out this pre-order information for Golden Tee 3D. And you know what? Again, I have the machine. The machine is awesome. It's the right direction. I've said it before with NBA Jam XL. These are what these cabinets always should have been. The molded coin doors, the larger form factor, riserless. It's got a great marquee. Those speaker grills are awesome. Of course, the only thing that happened, that goddamn screen, and it's such a shame. Such a shame. Retro Gamer Chris says, still waiting for my KI Pro shipment notification. However, heard the sticks are actually not very good. That's disappointing. That's going to be towards the end of the video. The end of the video, we'll talk about that. I actually never ever got my Arcade1Up shipment notification. The only reason I found out my package had shipped, I got a UPS notification that they wanted a whole bunch of money for shipping and duty and taxes. So I have to pay that. That's the only way I found out that my KI Pro had been shipped, and I should have it January 4th, so I'll give you an update on that. Even with the shit monitor, it's the one worth fixing. Carlo says, I've heard a lot of people say that. Like I said, I'm not going to try to mess with the monitor. I just use it like it is and stand in front of it, and I'm still having a blast. The screen sucks, but it is what it is. So guys, moving along after we did that, and we get into some more hatred for the XL cabs, hatred/love, and I don't think anybody will be too surprised. I released a video a little while after that covering, oh, look at me with my CM Punk AEW shirt, talking about things that didn't work out so well this past year. Jesus. But I mentioned in this video how I was a little bit concerned about the NBA Jam Shaq XL cabinet. And as much as I want to shit on the art for not being accurate and that being a really big deal for me, again, it was going back to that screen. Now, I can say, after having it, and I'll cover this when I do my review a little later on, the screen is the exact same screen that's in the KI Pro, it's the exact same screen that's in the Golden Tee 3D. However, it's not on as much of a slant, it's more straight up, so the washout isn't as noticeable. I can sit on a stool and play it enjoyably, unlike the Golden Tee, but it's still not a great screen. The rest of the cab is awesome. Again, what these cabinets always should have been, but man, oh man, that screen. So that was my concern video. We started to get more information about that. And I mean, Arcade1Up didn't even cover up the fact that the screen was shitty. I mean, even in the promo shots, you see the washed out screen. Can you imagine taking promo shots and showing your product looking that bad? I don't know what they were thinking. Like, I love the cabinet too. I love it. They did themselves no favors here. Luckily enough, I got a discounted cab. I paid for a portion of it and did a review. It's a lot better than their own advertisement did, and maybe they should have sent a couple more review units out. I think a couple people in the space probably would have gave the same kind of review I did, where the monitor is shit, but the rest of the cab is awesome and it looks awesome. So, I feel bad how the community reacted to this. We just didn't have enough information out there for people to really sink their teeth into, because it is a really good cab outside of that screen. Console Fanboy says, $1.99 Super Chat, thank you very much. Paid Code Mystics, MK Spectate. If there's a way to do it, Code Mystics can do it, and Arcade1Up should definitely work with them. Bill's Retro Gaming Show says, yes, their promo pics did not hit the Shaq XL at all. Completely agree, Bill. Like, it's a shame. It's a shame, but hopefully for the people who did get it, you did enjoy it, and you're enjoying it as much as I am. Then from there, we actually got some fairly large news for the iArcade that was met with both favorable responses for those who picked up the gold, and maybe a little negativity too. So I want to talk about this now, and I think you guys might know what I'm talking about. There, right around, when was it? 7 months ago, we got news that iArcade was going to be working with our good buddy, Glenn Planamento, and they were going to be making ads. Wait till the ads go through. I know, I got to get YouTube Premium. I'm cheap. I will refuse to get YouTube Premium, guys. Refuse. So anyways, we know that Glenn was going to be working with this company, and Glenn was going to be doing some work with iArcade and doing open accessories for the device. So you can see Glenn's things here, and for you guys who have been covering it, we know that there's going to be new control panels. Glenn's trackball spinner was going to work with it, and they were all going to plug in through the new USB attachments. And for those of you who didn't have a gold cabinet, you could set yours up. They're working on it through Bluetooth, so that was an option. But this is where it starts, because right around this time, before Glenn made this announcement, we also found out that Glenn had signed a contract with Sinden Technologies to work with them. And then I started announcing that, Sinden Technology was coming to iArcade. We found out about it for sure on our Chicago trip when we were there. They made the announcement, Operation Wolf is coming to iArcade. And they are in person. They let us play it and showed it working on the iArcade with the Sinden Technology. However, unfortunately, Light Gun Tech is only through USB right now. They haven't figured out a way to do it through Bluetooth. And the community started to unravel that there was going to be a feature available on iArcade that was only for the gold owners and not the original owners. It was the first time I really saw a big lot of dissension in the community with iArcade, because they thought it was so unfair, the fact that these new gold owners, even though if they've been longtime day one fans, bought the original cabinet, bought all the games, now they weren't getting this new feature that was only available to gold owners. Now, I don't know how they can figure it out, unless there's some way that they can come up with a new control panel that puts in a USB, or figure out some way to hardwire a USB onto that original chipset. I don't know how they're doing gun technology. You can see my video over here, the Sinden Light Gun video. Tyler V let me have it for a year until it finally came out. But I don't know how they're going to do it. I still don't. I don't know if it's possible to do Light Gun Tech through Bluetooth, Sinden Light Gun Tech through Bluetooth. But if there's one person who may be able to figure it out, it's Glenn Planamento. Man's a genius. So hopefully, if there's a way to do it, he can figure it out. And I don't know what you guys think. Hopefully you guys are, as hopeful as me about that. But I'm glad I got my gold cab, and I hope that iArcade can eventually get some good gun games to go with it. I think it's a possibility we're going to see Operation Wolf, maybe some other games in that lineup, but I don't know what else they can get. Maybe a Mad Dog McCree. Maybe there's stuff out there that Arcade1Up don't have locked away through publisher deals that they can put on the iArcade. Maybe some more modern stuff, like that new House of the Dead remake that just came out. Maybe there's a way to make that work with iArcade. But then again, I don't know if iArcade have the kind of capital to work with the Sega and work with those teams to get it on the system. We'll see. We'll see what the future holds. And here is where really the Arcade1Up here started to unravel quite a bit for me. And I started getting a little disappointed. We knew about the TN monitors in the 2XL cabs, but this is around the point where we started to find out that TN monitors weren't just going to be in the XL cabs, that Arcade1Up had taken a step back and moved to TN monitors for their 3/4 scale as well. Unfortunately, they used really bad TN monitors, so I think myself and Console Kits both put out videos pretty much the exact same day covering the fact that the new, yeah, I know, enable ad blocker. You're telling me, everybody's telling me, but you can see it here on this side. This is where we started to notice it. You can see that screen. Yeesh, yeesh, yeesh. I don't know what happened. The sad thing is, like when Arcade1Up does their dealings, I'm sure they just look at the model numbers and go, yeah, we've used that screen before. That's really good. But what they didn't know was, while this is the same model number, almost right to the T as the original screens, it had changed slightly, and there was different backlighting, creating a completely different picture. So Arcade1Up pop committed to doing all these monitors with these cabinets, and I think it killed the experience with these cabinets. I mean, these are the peasant cabs, the legacy cabs, where they were going to take them off their risers and sell them on the 3/4 scale or whatever you want to call them. But man, oh man, poor screen gate. So I did my video. Console Kits did his video. There it is. Can it be fixed? And it's true. I did a review of Mortal Kombat 30. It's going to be coming up in a while. And it's sad because that cabinet is so goddamn good. Like, the only mistakes, in my opinion, are including the TN monitor, the shitty TN monitor, and not figuring out a way to pay Pacina and put him on the side. Other than that, I love this cabinet. Love it. It's just, man, that screen really defeats the experience. It sucks. The year of screen gate, I completely agree. Chris Langlois, completely agree. And that wasn't the only one that I wanted to take a look at. Some of these legacy cabs starting hitting the wild, and one, man, oh man, I'm telling you, even with the shitty screen, I probably would have ended up buying this except for one friggin' thing that they did wrong on the last legacy version of this, and they did it wrong here as well. So guys, we got our first look around this time of year at the Centipede Legacy cabinet, and this thing was absolutely beautiful. If you ever go back and watch my original Arcade1Up Centipede review, when I put Glenn's trackball in, I told you about how much I love this cabinet. I love the marquee. I wish I had a light-up version. They went above and beyond with this one, recreating the accurate shape of the original cabinet, putting the art on right, no weird centipede thing written on it, finally having a light-up marquee, having a much better-looking control deck, and even including volcano buttons. Like, this thing looked incredible. Look at that. I mean, geez Louise, the volcano buttons are awesome. Everything looks awesome here. Except you see what's on the goddamn screen. They put a horizontal monitor in it. And I know I've talked to Arcade1Up about it. It's tough because when you're looking at it, you've got 3 vertical games on the cab or 4 vertical games, and then 10 are horizontal games. You're going to go with the law of most returns. So, I mean, they didn't want to have 10 games on it on that little 13-inch screen on the vertical screen, but it just kills the experience with Centipede. Now, I've never actually played this, but one of the other problems I had with the Atari Legacy is not only was Centipede on a horizontal screen, they also put it in the wrong aspect ratio. So it's actually squished and stretched as opposed to just being, the regular size. So on top of it not being in the correct screen orientation, it's also in the wrong aspect ratio. So it was a double whammy on the Tempest cab, and it really sucks. It makes me not want to play Centipede on it. And then, of course, I'm not going to go through that experience again and pay another $649 Canadian to get another cabinet, especially one that's absolutely decked in Centipede stuff, just to not play Centipede on it. So it really sucks. I love this cabinet too. I love the look of it. Love the physical look of it. I wish it had a horizontal monitor. Then, of course, we know it's got the same crappy TM panel as Mortal Kombat. A little bit washed out. This guy, when he had it, like, he was pretty excited about it, but I mean, you can see that angle there from the side. This wasn't good. It wasn't good. And it's such a shame too. I love this cabinet. They even fixed the issue on this side for Missile Command. Arcade1Up doing a bunch of right, adding the molded coin door, the beautiful cabinet, but then the crappy monitor and not having the right screen orientation just breaks my friggin' heart, man. That was Centipede Legacy. I'd like to tell you it gets a lot better from here, but it was a weird year, man. Weird year. Then Arcade1Up did something that a lot of people are happy with, and from what I understand, this is an awesome cabinet. It missed the mark for me, and that is the Yoga Flame cabinet. We're going to get to it right here. There it is, Yoga Flame. And obviously you guys know why I don't like it, because it doesn't have the original art. And we've been covering this in nonstop. The fact that it didn't have the original art, it had this makeshift art. I brought up the Dim Mac Partycade, Countercade, and I talked about how they went with the non-traditional art. I know there wasn't an original Capcom cabinet. I don't even care about the fact it's in the midway shape, because this is the new generic Arcade1Up shape. And I will tell you, I have this on my Mortal Kombat, and now I have it on my Marvel vs. Capcom 2, which we're going to talk about later. Don't worry, guys. And this is probably the best cabinet shape for a generic cabinet Arcade1Up has come out with ever. I know it's the midway shape, but it's awesome. Awesome, awesome. But the art on the side of this makes me crazy. Now, the Shin Hadouken looked better, but it was the same thing. I call it Shin Hadouken, but I think it's Shinko Hadouken. So the Yoga Flame cabinet, I didn't like the color scheme. I didn't really like the art. But god damn it, man, everything else with the cabinet is so good. The games list, everything like that, they killed it. It's just, I hate the art. I know Capcom doesn't have art on all their cabinets. Most of them were conversion kits. Just personally, I didn't feel like I wanted to support Arcade1Up in doing this art project cabs. If you like it, awesome. Totally cool. Me, I have my own convictions, and I got to deal with that. And also, you can see down there, I don't know whose video this is, but this is the one where Miss Pac-Man was also announced, and they did the wanko art for the new Miss Pac-Man Legacy cabinet, where basically they took out the blue and added in the black. It's not arcade authentic. Again, another awesome cabinet, but they went with just their own art style, and I don't know what to say. It's fine. People who like it, they like it. That's fine. I'm not going to judge you if you like it. That's cool. I will never buy an Arcade1Up product if they just go rogue with the art. And I can't help myself. I don't buy an Arcade1Up to play the games. I buy an Arcade1Up for the experience, for the nostalgia and the experience. And if I don't get the total package, why am I not playing it on a multicade? You know what I mean? If it's just going to be a multicade. Now, the saving grace with both these cabinets is Arcade1Up's unique online features for them. So with Yoga Flame, I've really struggled with not buying it, even though it's crazy looking, because I can play Final Fight online with friends. I can play all the other Captain Commando, all the other great games on this cabinet online with friends. And then Miss Pac-Man, it's kind of the same thing. Even with Class 81, I hate that cabinet too for the art. I don't like it. But both of them are awesome cabinets with awesome game lists. And then you put your scores on the leaderboards and compete against people. So that's the saving grace for Arcade1Up on those, and reason not to play them on a multicade. But for me, the art really takes me out of the experience. Yeah, Papa Brad's nose. Do a Robotron. Make it right. I've said this a bunch of times. I'm worried they're going to actually not do Robotron and do Smash TV. And again, I'm in the same boat again. I don't want to play Robotron on a cabinet that doesn't have Robotron art. So I guess I won't be buying Smash TV. Yeah, so, that's where I am on that. So the one other thing about those cabinets that was interesting, and I don't know if this was because they had caught it in time at the manufacturer after the initial wave of hatred for the original Legacy cabs came out, but both of those cabinets actually had BOE monitors. And BOE, I'm going to be clear, that's a brand. The actual monitor is an IPS monitor, which is it a TFT or TFFT? I think it's a TFT monitor. An IPS is a super TFT monitor. So both those cabinets were going to have beautiful 4:3, correct aspect ratio IPS monitors, where the other cabinets had those awful 5x4 TN monitors. So wrong aspect ratio and just awful backlighting. That's where we were with those. But both those other cabinets, they got the IPS monitors. They look great and had the great form factor. If this was Mortal Kombat and it had that screen and that shape, it would have been perfect, in my opinion. It's a shame that Capcom Create an Art Project got it over Mortal Kombat. Breaks my heart. But up to this point, Arcade1Up had only re-released cabinets. We hadn't had anything new. But we had seen a huge leak right around this time, that blew up all Arcade1Up's plans for the rest of the year, where GameFly came out and made a bunch of mistaken ad announcements for a bunch of Arcade1Up products, including Marvel vs. Capcom 2, NFL Blitz, Time Crisis, and people were going nuts. Of course, people were out in the community saying they'll never do these cabs. They can never get Blitz. The NFL will never give them the license. Marvel vs. Capcom 2 is a pipe dream, and Time Crisis, that's exciting. that was the announcement basically coming out. Even though GameFly had made the leaks, and us YouTubers that people like to shit on sometimes were saying, yeah, this is going to happen, guys. Everybody was like, no, it's not going to happen. They can't do it. And then Evo came around, and there was a bunch of footage from UAG, BKong, and Moat, and I think OTG was there as well. And they officially announced they had freed MVC2. We got our first look at Marvel vs. Capcom 2. So there's me in my Macho Man shirt with a much better tan than I have now, of course, talking about Marvel vs. Capcom 2 announcement. Turn off all ads now. I don't know if that's community saying it. Who knows? But this is the first 1UP show live from Evo. We've got Liv and Jay Wong. They're on site at Evo, and they are now officially announcing Marvel vs. Capcom 2. And at the time, it was all absolute roses. The only thing that we took away from it that was a little bit negative, they did tell us it would have limited availability. We got to see some gameplay from BKong. B got to play it a little bit. He noticed there was a little bit of lag at the time. There was no word said about online. It was just going to be online. So we got Marvel vs. Capcom 2 announced, and everybody went nuts. So much so that the pre-order through Arcade1Up sold out immediately. The Target pre-order sold out. It was sold out everywhere, except for in Canada, where I got it relatively easy and on sale. But Arcade1Up did a great media campaign, a small production run of Marvel vs. Capcom 2, and people bought the shit out of it. Absolutely nothing can go wrong, right? Well, we'll come back to that. Yeah. A lot of people still aren't happy with their purchase, and we'll talk about why in a little bit. And I can't skip past this here, even though it's not a new product announcement, but to talk about the Red Cross event that we did with Arcade1Up. A bunch of us from the community were reached out to through BKong and through Arcade1Up to take part in the live part of the auction. B was kind enough to organize everything for us and give us our time slots of when we'd be going. He did most of the coordination. God bless B for doing that. And we got to go on stream and do some cool stuff. And a bunch of people picked up a bunch of cabs for a little bit of money. We had a fun day. I was very happy I took part in it. I'm very happy to be involved with it for what it was. Next up for me, I got my first of the legacy cabs. Even though I knew the screen was janky, I decided I was still going to buy the Arcade1Up Mortal Kombat 30th Anniversary. Here you can see Mike playing it. I love the cabinet. I love the new marquee. I love the buttons. I love Hero Wars, apparently. Like, I don't love the non-white buttons, I will tell you that. That's another mistake on that cab. But I love what this cab should be. Everything about it is great. It's super comfortable. One of the best Arcade1Up cabs to date, outside of the fact that it has that awful screen. And you can go back. You watch my review. I said that. Everything about that cab is absolutely smoke show, except for the screen. So, I paid full price for it. I kind of regret that. It's on sale. It was on sale Boxing Day here in Canada for $4.99. I could have saved $150 for tax. If I had saved some money, I probably would have a lot more positive things to say about it. I love the cabinet. Just, I have it placed pretty much up against a wall, so I can only see it from the angle where the screen's not washed out. So, yeah, that was Arcade1Up. When the legacy cabs finally started to come out, they worked, but man, that screen proved to be just as shitty as we all thought it was going to be in all our hype or prediction videos. So, it sucks. Zohar, might be play me a few matches after the show. Maybe, Zohar. Let's see what my wife's doing after the show. If she gives me leave, you're on, brother. So from there, this is where things start to get interesting. AtGames come back onto the scene, and for those iArcade fans that are saying, hey guys, you're not covering iArcade, we'll come back to that, but I didn't cover it as much. What I'm doing is I'm going through my videos and showing you the big pieces that came out through the year. So this is one I'm pretty excited about. I was lucky enough, AtGames sent me this product for review. You still can't buy it here in Canada, so otherwise I wouldn't have one right now, and I wouldn't know how cool it is. But guys, that is the AtGames Legends Pinball Micro. So outside of the BitPixel HV, quad plate control panel, and the Legends Bit LCD, which I got towards the end of the year, this was the big product from AtGames coming out this year, the mini version of their Legends Pinball, and this was absolutely awesome. When I first saw product shots in the influencer call about AtGames coming out with a micro pinball, the original design didn't actually have a back box, and it was just the body. And I was just like, man, I don't like that. And I'm so happy they went back to the drawing board and they realized if we're going to do this, we need to do it right. And they included that back box. And it is so good. The mini pinball experience is everything that you're offered through the big pinball machine. That's what the mini micro pinball does. Really, really, really cool. I was very impressed with the Legends Pinball Micro. For those of you looking for a tabletop pinball experience or looking for a really good pinball experience, you want to do everything you can do on your AtGames Legends Pinball, whether it's play all their included games, hook a PC up to it and play Pinball FX3, or even play visual pinball through your PC, but you don't have a lot of real estate in your house. You don't have room for the ALP. This is such a cool option. You should definitely consider it. I love the ALP Micro. Really, really good thing. If AtGames could ever figure out delivery to Canada, they get monthly paychecks from me. Chris, I have talked to Arlene. There is 120 AtGames Legends Pinball Micros coming in January, I do believe. So if you were looking for a pinball micro, it will be here soon. Price point is a little tough, $649, but anybody looking for a Legends Pinball Micro in Canada, they will be here soon. So guys, that was the big thing from AtGames. After a very slow start to the year where we didn't hear a lot of information, products started to come out, and the products that did come out were all really good. Like, we didn't get anything substantial, like you didn't get a new pinball machine or a new Legends Ultimate. We didn't get a lot of games on the Legends Ultimate. We got new arcade packs now. Value of those, I don't know, that's up to the person. But we did get some pinball games, which I can talk about right now, actually. I think. Let's see if yeah. So I don't have a review video done on these, but I did do a pretty extensive Let's Play on my pinball table. This is before I figured out how to capture pinball correctly. But one of the things I heard about, and I was just absolutely gobstruck when they told us in our meetings where they give the influencers the information, was about these natural history pinball packs. And I heard about them and I was just like, so what? Natural History Magazine? What the hell is that? I had never heard of it before in my entire life. So they were going to be doing these natural history pinball tables. And I was just like, I'm lost on this. If you're going to go out and spend money on a license, why would you spend it on this? What's the interest in doing it? And I kind of get where AtGames are going now, seeing the 2 pinball packs this year, which we'll talk about in a bit, because if you actually go through and play these are really good games. Of course, they're still, they've got that Zachariah style and feel to them, so they feel like the, I forget what they're called, I think the electromechanical 70s style that, the Italian pinball was known for. They feel like that, but, that's what Zachariah makes. They're really good. But, it's hard not to feel that style. The luck versions of those pinball tables. Now, these are all good. They've got amazing visuals. They've got great sound, music. I mean, it's up to you whether or not you like the music. But I like what's on the board. I like the pinball action. If you like flippers, there's a bunch of flippers. So, yeah, Amazonia, it was pretty impressive. The Natural History pack was really, really good, in my opinion. And then, if you like that, after we get through this ad, after we awaken our curiosity, I'm giving away a lot of free ad space tonight. Jeez Louise. So this is after I figured out how to correctly, capture pinball a little bit better. I started watching some real pinball players playing real machines like Godzilla and stuff, and noticed the setup they had. And I said, I'm going to come up with a new way to capture pinball. I don't know why, but my camera was really struggling recording the Grinch table. So I'm going to move ahead and just show you more of the Grinch for some reason. Well, I'm going to show you Cat in the Hat because this runs a lot better. My camera wasn't messing up, but we got the Dr. Seuss tables as well. And if you can't tell, you look at it, Natural History Magazine, Cat in the Hat. It seems like AtGames are doing some kind of reading partnership that it's all about books. It's all about books, family, and learning. They're going for a younger family demographic here with their pinball games. These are just as good as the Natural History packs, but they really stepped it up a little bit. We've got included voices. This is definitely a more recognizable IP, a fun one. My daughter was super excited about them. The tables play really well. Music's a little better. They even updated the back box transition graphics. I was very happy with all the pinball efforts from AtGames this year. Again, of course, I wish they would figure out some way to bring us more real pinball tables, work with Stern, work with Spooky Pinball, American Pinball, somebody, and get us real pinball tables on the Legends Pinball. But I guess they're looking at it the same way they look at the ALU. If anybody wants to get real tables on this thing, they're either going to, hook up a computer and play Pinball FX3, or they're going to hook up their computer and play Visual Pinball. So they're going in a different direction, going for IPs they know they can get, and they can pinball packs they can sell on the device, and letting people work on their own means to get the tables they want on there. I hope eventually AtGames do figure out some way to get better licenses there, because they've got an amazing product, one I absolutely love and have used the shit out of. But I love their, direct offerings, but I mainly play it through my PC. I'm not going to lie. So I would love to see more stuff. Ed T1138, what's happening? My phone has a mind of its own today. Got my ODM. You have to tell me what ODM means, Ed. ODM. All right, I'll wait till you get back to me and tell me what ODM means. These tables are great. They're fantastic. Hopefully they do more of these. Can't wait to see the second version of Cat in the Hat. So we'll see. David G says, do you think AtGames will come out with a 2.0 in 2023? I don't, actually. I'm telling you right now, I don't know where AtGames' head is at in terms of updating their what do you call it? I don't know where AtGames' head is at. Oh, no. I'm reading this comment from Ed when he wrote on this all the way back when this video originally played. I'm losing my mind. So I don't know if AtGames really are in a space where they want to come out with a second pinball table or AtGames Legends Ultimate. I think what they did was last year they released the Legends Core Max. And I know I talked to PK at one point, and he was saying, why are we going to come out with a new Legends Ultimate with a more powerful chip when someone can just plug in the Legends Max that has the same brain or computer really as the ALP and upgrade their Legends Ultimate that way? That was the mindset. So if you guys want to upgrade your Legends Ultimate, where you've got a more powerful processor, I guess, and you can play your pinball games in 1080p on either the Legends Ultimate Mini or the Legends Ultimate, the concept that AtGames has is you're going to plug in your Max to do so. So, I mean, that's up to you. Are we totally hyped for Electric Company and Reading Rainbow Pinball? I'm not going to lie to you. If they come out with a Reading Rainbow Pinball, I, for one, will be excited. I will. So anyways, guys, those are the pinball offerings from AtGames this year. And, AtGames, they had a relatively quiet year, but they came out with some pretty good stuff. I'm not going to lie. I think, we want more. We expect more from AtGames. We want to see a lot more stuff. And we'll cover that when we get to, kind of the wrap-up on all this stuff. But, yeah, so that was AtGames. The two pinball offerings they did, they were pretty good. They were a lot of fun. And, all the gear they came out with, the add-ons for the machines and the new Legends Pinball Micro, really good. So it was a good year. They didn't do much, but what they did was pretty good. They were pretty quiet too. There wasn't a lot of firmware updates. They really cut that out. So, in the past, we always had that weekly firmware update that always seemed to break something else. So they've just been really quiet this year and quietly coming out with some good product. And maybe letting us down on the software side and what we want to see from the company, but everything they've put out was relatively good. So I got to try to figure out where I was here. So now we get back to when I actually got to try my Shaq XL cab and Arcade1Up, like I talked about it with you guys. They gave me a discount on this cab. I paid a lower amount for it for the purpose of review. Took it home and absolutely fell in love with it, even though it had that terrible Shaq art on the side. Just the form factor of the XL, the giant marquee, the way this felt more like a real cab made me absolutely fall in love. And getting this in Golden Tee, I was ready to dump all these 3/4 scale cabinets and just go XL and Pro going forward. I was so impressed with them. Screen of course was an issue, but everything else was really dope. I love my XL cabs. I have them out in a section right now that is dedicated towards XL and Pros. And maybe one day I'll start moving stuff out of my arcade and moving the XL and Pros in if they keep making this line. I really hope they do. I'm worried. I'm going to be honest with you because I love the XL product. I think the XL product is where Arcade1Up should be, especially if they're going to charge more money. This is what the product always should have been. The only problem is you can't keep putting these TM monitors in these cabs. Like if you're going to do XLs, they got to have that IPS screen you put in the Pro. That can't just be for the Pro. That has to be for these as well. I'm just saying. So I was super impressed with the NBA Jam Shaq Edition. I was super impressed with the Golden Tee 3D XL, all except for the screen. If you had a better screen in these would have been slam dunks. No pun intended, even though this is basketball, they would have been slam dunks. And then this is kind of where this turns a little bit ugly. I had a video that came out that actually did really, really well. That was just something in my mind and seeing some of the negativity online. But I did a video on The Source and their Boxing Week event. Man, I am giving out some free ads tonight. You are all welcome. So I'm trying to find, here it is, talking about all the Arcade1Up cabinets that have been on sale in the last little while and saying, what the hell's going on? And so the video was, is Arcade1Up in trouble? And it's not a negative video, but it's kind of a video that explains the situation right now, that there's a bunch of cabs like Killer Instinct, a bunch of their other cabs, Terminator 2, all went on sale towards the end of the year for $2.99, and people were going nuts. They were buying a bunch of cabinets, filling up their games room, and everybody started this narrative with, oh man, Arcade1Up's going out of business. It's a conversation we'll be having again in a little while. And I said, no, they're not going out of business, but certainly they didn't do what they thought they were going to do in terms of demand and supply this year. They had a really good year the year before, and they came out swinging with supply. You got to remember, Terminator and Ridge Racer, two of the cabs that really went on sale a lot last year, were actually, and Killer Instinct, were all supposed to be part of the 2021 lineup. Didn't make it to delivery until January, so they were delayed. So really 2021 was the year Arcade1Up came out with the massive oversupply, and then unfortunately in 2022 demand just went down. All the companies kind of took that, non-production, like AtGames, you notice they were slow. They knew 2022 was going to be a slower year. Arcade1Up did too. They really tried to limit what they were going to sell this year because they knew at retail it was going to be hard. Recession was looming. They had these hangovers, Ridge Racer, Terminator, and Killer Instinct, that went into the new year with a ton of stock. And towards the end of the year, we saw the impact of that with all three of these cabinets being overstocked at retail and then having to be sold off at clearance type prices. But they didn't learn their lesson when it came to one cab, and it's not so much Arcade1Up didn't learn their lesson, because Arcade1Up made their money off this last cab we'll talk about in a minute. It's the retailers that are losing out. I see the WrestleFest comment, please. Yeah, we all want WrestleFest. I hope it's done and done well, so we'll see. Anyways, moving on to the last one I really want to cover. Or is that it? Yeah, that's it. That's all of them. That's all the videos I really wanted to cover. Arcade1Up in trouble. That's it, I think. So the last piece, of course, is coming up now. We've run into some big mistakes. I think it's in that Arcade1Up is in trouble video. We talk about some of the big mistakes Arcade1Up has made. One of them was sending out Blitz and sending out Marvel vs. Capcom 2 without the online being ready. The community absolutely roasted them. Probably completely accurately, the lack of communication and the lack of talking to the community didn't help, and fans were really pissed. I don't know why they did it. I still don't know. I've never got a clear answer. All I know is they sent these products out and we're like, we'll just update it later. It's not a big deal. The important thing is getting it out in stores. Well, they did, and they've upset a lot of their fan base. That's why you see so many people right now making videos saying, I'm done with Arcade1Up, I'm done with this, I'm done with that. And it sucks. It sucks because you know what? I have Blitz. I do. And I played it the other night, and online is live now. And this cabinet is currently selling. I saw someone post $127 at Sam's Club right now. We saw it go down to $211, $299, and it's gone down all the way to $127. I saw $172 at one store. It's crazy. It's crazy how much Blitz has gone down. But if you tuned into my show the other night, I mean, they went back, they got it done. They did what they promised to do. All 3 games are running live on Blitz. They all run really well. I had some really super fun games against people live the other night here on my channel. I mean, if you guys picked up Blitz on discount like I did, like I picked my Blitz up for $5.99 in Canada, and it went on sale Boxing Day for $4.99. I managed to get my price adjustment, so I got my cab for $4.99 Canadian. Believe me, that's a super deal for a cab that just came out here. And then in the US, you guys are getting this cab for like $200 now, and congratulations, because you know what? It's not the original Blitz. It's a modified ROM with weird HD graphics, but god damn it, it's still fun. And Ancestry DNA is a hell of a product, apparently. Let me get that off the screen. But Blitz is super fun. The online's super fun. And if you got this for a discount, you guys are laughing. Absolutely laughing now. Koja Jangle says, I'm done with Arcade1Up until CES 2023. Let me get you back on screen for that one. Thank you very much for the super chat, Goofyfoot. Nissan Silva's question: if Arcade1Up goes under, what happens to online with the cabinets? I don't know how that works. It's not server based. I believe it's peer-to-peer. So I don't know if there's anything they need to keep running. I don't know if anything works. If Arcade1Up goes under, I don't know. Someone much more smarter than me, more talented than me, probably needs to answer that question. But I think it's a peer-to-peer network, so, I mean, it can run forever even without them. Now, at the same time, for the people saying, what if Arcade1Up goes under? I mean, Arcade1Up is a subsidiary of a pretty large toy company. They're still making Hatchimals. Hatchimals had a very successful year last year. Same company, Tastemakers International. So I don't think the company will ever go under. I think the product line may end. That's a possibility. I don't know how much longer they've got left, but I don't think there's any big trouble there. And just the other day, someone posted up in the Arcade1Up Canadian fan page, they're actually currently still in the process of hiring. So I don't think a company hiring are on the process of going out. And then also for the people saying, what if Arcade1Up goes under? It's done for Arcade1Up. And for some reason, reveling in a company possibly failing. And, that's your prerogative and stuff like that. You're basing this off the Sam's Club sales on Blitz and them clearancing them out. But if you're an AtGames fan, maybe you should be concerned as well, because they're currently clearing out the ALU and ALP as well. So maybe instead of saying, that's it, Arcade1Up are done, maybe look at it for what it is and realize that maybe Sam's Club and Walmart are taking a different direction with some of their stock and getting out of the home arcade space because it isn't as profitable for them in terms of how much space it takes up in their warehouse. Because on top of this Arcade1Up Blitz cabinet, which obviously didn't sell as well as they thought, they're also getting rid of all the AtGames products as well. So there's got to be something going on there larger than them just saying Arcade1Up are done. So we'll see. I don't think they're in any risk. I mean, that's just my opinion. But I'll leave it at that. Anyways, Blitz, guys, runs fantastic. If you got it at a discount, you guys did very, very well, and you got yourselves a good game, in my opinion. Now, for Blitz purists, I got news for you. It's not Blitz. It's not the game you remember. So maybe stay away from the cab. This is not for you. You won't be happy with it. I'll say the same thing to Dragon's Lair fans too. People that are super fans of Dragon's Lair, there's an audio glitch. And the game doesn't run exactly like you remember, and it might be game-breaking for you. So maybe that's not the cab for you. But if you're an arcade Dragon's Lair casual fan, or you just want to experience Dragon's Lair, you're probably not going to notice it as much as the really super hardcore people that want the exact arcade experience. So I'll throw that out there. That's a fair comment on both those sides. Not defending Arcade1Up at all. I'm saying, you know what? Depending on what your expectations are, these might not be the games for you. That's what I'm trying to say. And Carlo, I agree. Congrats to the Blitz owners that sniped this deal. I got 5 friends in Canada that we all picked up Blitz for $4.99. We all get to play each other and have fun on a really good cab that I'm going to get new art for and put down in my arcade at some point. I'll wait for the XL version. Nick, like maybe, but I got to tell you, if you're Arcade1Up, do you make an XL version of this cab? Seeing how things went with the sales? I don't know. I don't know if you can justify it. I don't know if your CFO will look at it and say, that's worth the risk. I don't know. No, Goofy Foot. I'm not talking about you specifically. This is not directed at you, Goofy Foot. This is directed at all the people laughing at Arcade1Up. This is something I was going to say anyways, Goofy Foot. So anyways, guys, also, on top of that, Marvel vs. Capcom 2, that's the one I'm really sad for because I was under the impression that there might have been an update coming out Christmas Day. That's the one I still feel bad for. The rest of the games on the cabinet work great, but Marvel vs. Capcom 2 still isn't working, so that sucks. It's a great cabinet. It's got that awesome midway shape. It's got that IPS monitor. All the games look really good. They play really good. Marvel vs. Capcom 2, I'm not that familiar with that one, so I can't say 100% it works really well, but still no online, which is really super disappointing. Really super disappointing. Chris Langlois, I never got the Blitz stool with the back. I got the Mortal Kombat stool with the back. I never took it off yet, but I haven't spent a lot of time down in my arcade since then, right? And yeah, I think last but not least, one other thing I really want to touch on. We talked about iArcade and we talked about the conversion from the standard cab to the gold cab. That was the big story this year. But the other big story that I want to go over is, this might be a little bit of controversial, but I want to talk about the games and the difference a year makes. Last year, was the first full year really of iArcade. And, they under-promised and over-delivered last year. We got some cool shit, Retromania Wrestling, Mayhem Brawler. There was some modern stuff tied in with some really good old stuff too. When this year started, we had all this talk about bangers, AAA games, all this stuff. And I will tell you, they released a lot of really good games and a lot of good retro modern games and underappreciated games this past year. But one thing that bothers me, and I've got to kind of put up with it a little bit, is the fact that we were promised some big titles this year. We were given, reason to believe that heavy hitters were coming as a sales pitch. That was a line that was said a lot, and they never came. Like, we got good games. Like, we got Moon Patrol. We got just those bunch of games from IRM. There was a ton of good games, but nothing major. Nothing that really hits that sausage trademark they were saying. We didn't get the bangers. They didn't deliver anything we really hoped for. And I thought that was a big fail on iArcade's part this past year. Again, I love the gold cab. I think it's a great upgrade. I love the concept of being able to add accessories like trackballs and spinners so we can play new types of games in new ways. I love the fact that you can add a Send and Light gun eventually. I have my Send and Light gun. I'm just waiting for a game to come out. But it really pisses me off a little bit that we just never got anything really big to sink our teeth in. That next awesome game, whether it's, a modern, retro modern, or even that big arcade title. They said over and over again, bangers are coming. Big games are coming. But did we get it? We got cool stuff. I mean, we got Moon Patrol, IRM games, and I played one just a little while ago that I want to show you guys here now. Just pull it up. I got to play this the other night. They sent a review copy to me of this because they know I'm a big Robotron, Smash TV, twin stick shooter fan. So they sent me Galaxy Champions TV, and I had a blast with it. It's a really, really good game. Excellent game. But I mean, you think about it. They closed out the year with this one, which is great. It's a great game. And they also closed out the year with Vigilante, which is another game I bought and I'm very fond of. But if you close out the year with that and think that's a big closeout, I mean, what did you mean by bangers in the original? And what can we expect in the future from iArcade? So, I mean, you know, AtGames, quiet year, didn't do a lot, didn't promise a lot, canceled some stuff. And then they quietly came out with a lot of really good add-ons and the ALP Micro. On the software side, they came out with some good but unexpectedly good pinball games, but nothing that was real high-end, real pinball stuff. So AtGames had a good but, you know, underwhelming year. Really good, solid year, but a little bit underwhelming in the space. iArcade came out with a lot of good games, came out with a new cabinet, but they promised so much. They promised that term, bangers, and then didn't deliver. So, I mean, I don't know what you say about iArcade this past year. A lot of really good games like the one I'm playing right now. Like, I am super happy with this. I love Donut Dodo. I know it's not for everybody. You know, I love the iRoom games. I thought Moon Patrol was a great get for them. Like, I mean, they're up against it. People, you know, their fan base all wants something different. It's hard to make everybody happy, I know. But at some point, they're going to have to go out there and, you know, get better games. The same thing I say about AtGames. If AtGames ever want to sell ArcadeNet, if you build it, they will come. You can't just say, well, we're worried about the return on investment, whether we're going to get our money back on that. You're never going to get any money unless you go out there and really take a risk. So, I mean, that's what I want to see. I want to see risks. I don't want to see safe bets from these companies, these two companies specifically in 2023. And anyways, that's my opinion on them. And then last but not least, I'll bring up a company I'm probably the most close with. The company that I'm, you know, I love all these companies. I'm a big fan of all their products. Arcade1Up, I've probably spent the most money on, and the big reason why it differentiates between the other two are really multi-cade companies. And I love multi-cade, I love playing games, but there's something to me that's special about the nostalgia. You know, I'm a sucker for an NES Classic. Of course, I can play a Raspberry Pi. I'm not an idiot. But the NES Classic looks like an NES. It has an NES controller, and it gives me that nostalgia vibe. And it's the same thing with Arcade1Up. When I see that arcade recreated in the 3/4 scale or the XL scale, I'm like, God damn. It makes me a little more excited to play it. So this past year, we got a lot of that. But, you know, we didn't get a lot new. We got some heavy hitter titles. Like we got Marvel vs. Capcom. Everything in the GameFly leaks except for Time Crisis. We got Blitz. And everything was good. It's just like there were so many mistakes made. If there's one thing I would say about Arcade1Up, they had another really good year, but made a bunch of costly mistakes. And what it seems to me is like some bean counter in an office sat down and said, yeah, we need to really... We're not doing well at our current price point, so we really need to cut some corners here to keep our profit margin while offering the same product at a lower price. That's what it seems to me. So you go with cheaper screens, you cheap out on buttons. The last big thing from Arcade1Up this year is if you go to their games and you go to all arcades, I'll see if I can pull it up here. I don't know if it's going to show it. I'm going to have to find it here. Sorry, guys. Sorry. But the KI Pro cabinet. KI Pro just came out. Is there a place to search on here? You're going to get ready to hear the loudest keyboard ever, guys. I got it moved away from the thing, so hopefully it helps. But we got the Killer Instinct Pro. That's coming right around the corner. And if you've watched the early reviews, people love the cabinet, except for hand being cut off and the fact that it's still the same cheap vinyl Arcade1Up puts on their cabinets. Hand being cut off, they say the graphics are a little bit digitized or cheap. I've started to notice that with Arcade1Up. They don't do a good job getting real super high-res graphics at times. Like, if you go take a close look at the Attack from Mars stuff, the Attack from Mars stuff is a little bit pixelated as well for some reason. But anyways, we got the Killer Instinct Pro. And this is really their piece de resistance for the year. It's their biggest cabinet, the first in the Pro line of series. This is for your hardcore fans. You're putting this product out. And you went out of the way to put light-up buttons in that molded coin door. You added Suzo Hap. You added Yamaha speakers, an upgraded marquee. You talk about all these features that you did, and I don't have mine yet, so I'm going off what other people said. But then you go and you cheap out. You don't actually add Suzo Hap. You add Suzo Hap Ultimates, which are apparently the lowest level of Suzo Hap. And you're probably thinking, well, it's still Suzo Hap. But apparently there's a problem with the way they do the molds on the Ultimates that's been identified, which is why they don't really use them anymore. And people are having problems controlling the characters. Now, I will have to check for myself. I really, really don't want to have to replace the sticks in these. I've never done a stick replacement in any of my cabs, so I'm going to be pretty upset if I get a Pro cabinet and I have to do a stick replacement because I can't get simple combinations to work. So that's really disappointing. And also the micro switches you put in. I mean, I'll never forget when I was watching the original video where we saw the first cab come out, and Stringer Films was in the comment and he said, "Oh, if you hear clicks like that, you ain't got Cherry, you got Blee, bro." But it's actually a brand called Baolin, which is a cheaper micro switch. And I mean, this is a run of 500 friggin' cabs. 500 friggin' cabs. And the difference between a Cherry micro switch and a Blee micro switch is like 69 cents. I don't know how many buttons it is, but I think it works out to like $7,000 total cost. I mean, how much is that really going to screw up your budget? So it's really disappointing to hear some of the critiques of this cabinet and some of the cheaping out that Arcade1Up did, because it seems like they did a lot of that this year. They were trying to go in a way to deliver a better product at a cheaper price point, and some bean counter made some decisions that just took a lot of really good products this year. They had a lot of really good products, good form factors, so many cool things, a lot of really awesome products that just failed in delivery because, again, like I said, it seems like some person on the financial side tried to find a way to cheap out, and it just absolutely effed up your product. So I'm hoping next year, if Arcade1Up does one thing, most people are saying, deliver WrestleFest, deliver this, deliver that. Figure out a way to offer the best quality product you can. Stop cheaping out on parts like you did this year. No more TN monitors. TN monitors should not exist in your scope unless something happens where you can no longer buy IPS monitors. And if you can't buy IPS monitors, figure out a friggin' way to get IPS monitors, because we should never have a 5x4 TN monitor in a 3/4 scale cab again. And your XL line should have been a massive success. But those goddamn screens and the Pro cabinet, it breaks my heart to hear people being so critical of these and saying that the components you use were cheap. When you put the word Pro in something, it has to be Pro. You can't offer the Killer Instinct Semi-Pro, the Flint Tropics of the arcade world. It just really depressed me. I'm still excited to get mine, still excited to try it out January 4th, but if there's one thing I can say about Arcade1Up this year, they had so many awesome ideas, and just for some reason, cheap parts is holding them back from having that real killer year they should have had. Bad decision making somewhere up the line has really hindered them. I hope next year, that's a thing in the past. They have to change the way they communicate. They have to figure out a better way to communicate with their fan base. They have to do a better job of understanding who their consumer and their fan base is, and trying their best to offer a product that both meets potential mainstream appeal so they can still grow while not alienating their core demographic or alienating their core buyers, because they kind of did that right now. And it's sad. I'm a longtime fan of this product. I make videos sometimes where I shit on them, not so much because I want to shit on them, because I like all these products. If I'm hard on them, it's because I want them to do better. That's my intention. I want them to do better, and I feel like I should tell people about it. I don't know. Kongzaros, $5 super chat. I got to bring it up on the screen so I can show it here. Hi, Mike. Quick plug for any folks in the Bay Area. I'm hosting a special last-minute home arcade meetup at John D's office Tuesday, 12/27. come join. Jesus, give me some notice, man. How am I getting to California tomorrow? Anyways, thank you so much for mentioning that. If you're in the Bay Area, go meet John D. Go meet Kongs R Us, bunch of other people. They're going to be having a meetup. Great time to ask them some questions. Maybe try to figure out what Arcade1Up's going to be doing in the new year. CES is right around the corner. Anyways, guys, that's my take on Arcade1Up. I'll give you an example really quick. For some reason, because of addiction maybe, I bought the Pac-Mania cab over Christmas because it went on sale. Absolute gut clearance here in Canada at $299. That's, if you do the conversion on that, it's about $200 US. Lowest I've ever seen an Arcade1Up cabinet, brand new, especially since the light up risers and marquees, and risers have been introduced to the cabs here. So I said $299, I can't not buy it. And I really shit on this cab. I told 19K Fox not even to buy it, and he ended up even selling it after doing the screen conversion because it just wasn't good enough. But I bought the Pac-Mania cab, and you know what? Even though I was critical of it, I love that cabinet. I love the cabinet. I love the games list. It's stupid, but I can play the games online, and that makes a huge deal to me. When sitting in front of the cabinet, B's comment, hashtag it's playable, 100% stands up. The new form factor is awesome. There's so many good decisions being made. But that screen, man, Jesus Christ. If somebody, anybody just said, hey guys, I know it's a little bit more expensive, but people expect a level of quality from Arcade1Up. We can't take steps backwards even to try to save a couple dollars and offer a lower price point. Find your savings somewhere else. Put the IPS monitor back in there. Again, it's like Mortal Kombat. If that Pac-Mania had an IPS monitor, I would turn around and say, holy shit, guys, Pac-Mania is amazing. Because it is amazing. You did everything right, except you put in that cheap monitor, and it makes me so mad. Pac-Mania is still amazing. Buy at $299. If you're in Canada, go get one. You won't regret it. But man, that screen sucks. Anyways, that's my rant. I love Arcade1Up. I just want them to do better. I want them to not cut corners. They do something for me that the other two companies don't do. They give me that nostalgia, and I want them to keep doing that, and I want to keep supporting them. But, they do need to do better. There's no lie about that. So anyways, guys, that's my year in review. I think it's been an interesting year where, like I said, AtGames, very quickly, I'm going to try to surmise this. AtGames didn't say a lot, didn't do a lot. Before we do that, though, I have to bring up this super chat really quickly. Thank you very much. Jasmine LeBeer, iArcade needs to get Crawl by Powerhoof. If you haven't seen it, go check it out. Thank you so much for the super chat. I will definitely check it out. I really appreciate it. But really quickly, guys, I just want to clue up here now, and I'm going to surmise this as quick as concise as I possibly can. So I want to start with AtGames. AtGames went out there, and they didn't say they were going to do a lot. They were very quiet, and they quietly had a very good year in terms of the add-ons they brought out for their equipment to continue providing more value to products that were already out there, as well as coming out with a new product, the ALP Micro, that really over-delivered in my opinion. In terms of the software, they put some games out there that were surprisingly good, viable games, well worth the money, still under-delivered in terms of their software and what we hope for. The other thing too is ArcadeNet is an awesome concept of a service. I will say this till I'm blue in the face. I just wish they went out there and got the software to support it to make people want to use it, because the program itself could be awesome, could be revolution in the home arcade space. It's just you need better software for it. Anyways, AtGames, quiet, strong, little bit underwhelming year. Then you had iArcade, who had a really good year, came out with a lot of really good games, increased their library, added online, took the goddamn screen softening filter off their games, came out with attachments to software. The Gold Edition cab is awesome, a lot of really good games, but in turn, under-delivered on the bangers promise. We didn't get the sausages everybody expected. Before we go to our last surmise, I got another super chat that I got to say thank you so much for. Jason M., thank you so much, $10. Very happy new year to you and your entire family. Keep doing what you do. Looking forward to your 2023 content. Thank you so very much, Jason. It's greatly appreciated. And then last but not least, Arcade1Up, who in the year it started out with a lot of re-releases, and more re-releases came in different form factors. And then when they did release new titles, what we were craving all year, they kind of botched the dive. They didn't come out of the gates the right way and further alienated their fan base. And most importantly, someone in the consumer division came out and made some terrible decisions that turned a lot of the good and great things they did, because they came out with some great cabs this year. Mortal Kombat, great, body, great look, great feel to the cab. Same with Pac-Mania. Same with that is the best 4-player cab I've ever played in terms of the form factor. Blitzes. I hate the art. I don't know whose decision that was. Hate the art. And then like Marvel vs. Capcom 2 is in that midway shape. It doesn't make any sense, but it's such a good cabinet. But some Bean Counter made some decisions, like just stupid decisions, really cheap decisions. I'm sorry, I'm ranting a little bit on this one, but like I will go back and rant some more. Mortal Kombat. You put yellow buttons in it. You're like, we're not going to order any extra white buttons. We just got this glut of yellow buttons. Why are we ordering white buttons? We'll just get yellow buttons. We can get a better quantity discount on the yellow buttons. It's the only reason I can think of why you didn't do the buttons right on the control panel. And then if you do look at their cabinets this year, you'll notice that some of the color buttons are inaccurate. You look at the color buttons. Some of the blues are darker than they should be. You look at the new Killer Instinct Pro cab. The blues are darker than they should be on the buttons. I don't know who's making these decisions. Anyways, ranting too much. You guys had such a weird year because you did some awesome stuff. You made some really good products, and unfortunately some mistakes to try to cost-saving mistakes to, whether it was just oversight or whether it was to protect your profit margin, whatever it was, really effed up your year. And it sucks. It sucks that I have to say this on the year in review because you're an awesome company. You deliver that nostalgia, but man, get your shit together. Anyways, I'll try to leave it at that. I still have my Tempest cab. I love my Tempest cab, despite the fact I can't play Centipede correctly on it. Anyways, guys, I've ranted too much. Hope my MK30 after the show. I'm going to try, Zohar. I'll write you on Facebook. I got to talk to my wife. Thank you very much for the super chat. Anyways, guys, thank you so much for putting up with my long year review. Hopefully you got some value out of it, and it's not just that scene from Billy Madison where he says, "Nothing you have said has made any sense. Everybody here is stupider for listening to you, and may God have mercy on your soul." Hopefully it's not one of those moments. So hopefully you got something out of this show, and thank you so much for watching my videos over the course of the past year. 2022 has been an awesome 2022. Yeah, 2022. It's been an awesome year on YouTube. I've had a lot of fun. We got to go to Chicago, meet a bunch of people from the community. I completely stepped out of my shell and did that, and so glad I did. What a great year. Thank you so much for everybody for sticking with me every Monday night this past year. This is Michael B. the Game Genie. I'll see you guys next time on Chill and Chat with Michael B. Still didn't add the end video to this.